something disturbs us, we want to deny it. We want a rational explanation for it. Something disturbs us, we want to deny it. We want a rational explanation for it. If something disturbs us, we want to deny it. We want a rational explanation for it.
Hello! Thank you for tuning back in to our live stream. We're still here. I'm still here. I'm a part of this chair now. Thank you guys so much for coming, staying with us. We're about to start our game of Thirsty Sword Lesbians, but just again to kind of remind you, we're currently raising money for Fair Fight. It's an organization that fights voter voter suppression in Georgia, particularly around this election. It's been the work they've done has been invaluable and important. They were. I don't feel like it's an understatement to say that they were a very key part of flipping Georgia. Oh my! Why are you changing things so rapidly? Oh my God!
I just wanted it to be. I wanted it to take up most of the screen. Okay.
Okay, well, I could do that.
It's done now. I
It's
did
done.
it. I have the power.
But the but yeah, they do great work. What are our donation incentives for this particular game?
Let me
Oh,
go.
yeah, I did a whole thing for that. So first I'm going to put it in chat so that I can just read it.
Okay.
So you can donate $5 to give a player advantage or disadvantage on their next roll. You can donate 10 to force an automatic critical success or failure. You can donate $5 to make a character say their full Sparkle Heart introduction, Magical Girl style.
Yes.
$20 to make a character smitten with another one. $30 for Jade to record a monologue of your choosing for you, and $30 for Shannon to record a message of your choosing in her special ASMR voice.
Hell yeah.
Also, don't forget that if you do donate $10 or above and you want a bumper sticker that says Justin Timberlake is an oatmeal of or ravioli of oatmeal, all you gotta do is email us your address and like a screenshot of the donation, and you will get one of those motherfuckers in the email.
There's
a
you gotta post the picture
of the oatmeal ravioli oatmeal.
Yeah.
Let me find
of the bumper sticker. Yeah.
Let me find it real quick.
Brandon, in case you're wondering, you have to have listened to Dumb Kids Playing Hero, the Animorphs podcast for that to make a lot of sense. But also, it's funny by itself.
Yeah,
it doesn't really make sense in context either.
Yeah, honestly, it's not.
I'm just going to accept it as it is, but also I need to check out that podcast. I only just recently learned that it existed, and it sounds rad. So yes.
Thank you.
Hey.
Okay.
Just one second.
Oatmeal of ravioli. Do you have shirts? I want shirts.
I don't have
That's
shirts.
what I want.
Shirts are expensive, and I don't want to have. I already have 3 bands worth of T-shirts living in my attic, so I'm like, stickers are the merch that I'm fine with sticking around my house.
Fair enough. Understood.
I'll get I will find the photo here shortly, or I'll go take another picture of them. But I'll get it put up. I'll put it up during the break so everybody can see it when you guys take you guys will probably take like a short break, I imagine, at some point. So
yes,
I'll
so that way I don't like have a panic attack.
You're gonna do great.
All right. Yes, let's do this.
Let's do this.
Oh shit. Okay. Sorry, I had to reboot my computer as part of my troubleshooting process earlier today, and so all of my tabs got closed, including my tab with the Thirsty Sword Lesbians stuff I wanted to read. So, okay. So Thirsty Sword Lesbians is a really, really cool game that was recently kickstarted. I think a couple of us were backers for the Kickstarter. And it's a very cool game. Let me go back to let me read you a couple of, like, the first intro page is really good and kind of sets a good tone for what this game is about. So, Thirsty Sword Lesbians battle a tyrannical ruler when her enforcers march down from the frosty north. They rocket through the stars to safeguard diplomats, ending a generations-old conflict. They sip tea together. and share shy glances at the corner cafe until they need to take up their swords to defend their community. Even in conflict, they seek peace with their opponents and sometimes connect more deeply than anyone expects. Your thirsty sword lesbians may be fantasy heroes or may inhabit a galaxy of laser swords and starships. Anywhere that swords cross and hearts race, thirsty sword lesbians are there. So, it's really great. It's a game that's about kind of like queer connections and queer longing. And I'm super excited to play it with y'all. So, I'm August. I use they them pronouns. I'll be GMing this thing today. Apologies, this is my first time GMing in public, so I'm super nervous, so bear with me if I babble a lot. And playing with me today, going in clockwise order on the overlay. Shannon, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Shannon. I use she, her pronouns. You can find me on the Room Where It Happened podcast, where I used to play Tessa and now I play Molly. And you can also find me on the Twitters at Big Mom Energy and also on Instagram at big.mom.energy.
Hell yeah. And next we have our very special guest, Brandon.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brandon O'Brien. I am a nerd and a dweeb, and I like tabletop role playing games a lot. I am presently GMing a Blades in the Dark campaign over on the podcast Speculate, as well as a playtest campaign of my own RPG, Sound Clash, which is called Sound Clash: The Clampdown, that is being hosted on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Arvan Elleron. But other than that, you can find me almost everywhere on the internet at The Rising Tide.
Yay!
Awesome. It's really great to have you here. And finally, we have our good friend Danielle.
Hi, I'm Danielle. I use she, her pronouns, and you can find me anywhere on the internet at Red-Tailed Hawk 90.
Awesome. So the next thing that I wanted to do is we got together beforehand, and for one of our safety mechanisms, we're using lines and veils. So our lines, which are things we absolutely do not want to see, are homophobia and transphobia, racism, sexism, anti-Semitism, violence against children and animals, sexual assault, domestic violence or intimate partner violence, unwanted pregnancy, and plagues and pandemics. Our veils, which are things we're fine with addressing but will just fade to black on, are steamy situations, graphic descriptions of bodily harm, and terminal illness. So I'm going to default to the standard FTL thing. Now that we've got all that, let's get started.
Ooh.
So we're going to be playing. Let me scroll back to it. We're going to be playing a module, like a pre-made module from the Thirsty Sword Lesbians book. There are a bunch of really cool ones in here. Some of them were stretch goals by a bunch of different authors. They're all really, really cool. But the one that we were kind of feeling was Sparkle Heart Magic Force Go. And it's really, really good. The pitch is, it's been years since the mystical guardians of the Sparkle Heart received their call to arms. Seemingly ordinary college students transformed to battle the Eidolons, otherworldly monsters of eerie beauty and vicious intent. Thanks to the mystical guardians, the gate was sealed, just in time for finals. The PCs parted ways after graduation, and the Sparkle Heart became a distant memory. Years later, they're going to have to remember their power and their friendship to confront a new threat.
God, I love magical girls. Oh my god, oh my
I
god, oh my god,
know.
oh my god, oh my god.
I know. It's such a good genre.
I love Sailor Moon and I will die on this hill.
There's no need to die on this hill. None of
Okay.
us are gonna come for you for that because you're right and you should say it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So, as part of the pre-made module, it actually comes with some setup questions, and I'd like to do those first and then introduce our characters, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So, as a group, we answer the following questions to develop the shared world. The first question that we have is, what was most terrifying about the Eidolons you encountered years ago?
Do you want us to read our responses like they are in the Google Doc? Or-
If you want,
Or we can
this
just
is
talk it
really,
out?
yeah, this is really where I kind of want to just like have the discussion so we can come to a consensus
Mm-hmm.
on what we all like. So if you want to just read it out of the Google Doc and then we can talk about it, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I need to silence my phone. Sorry.
You're fine.
Cool. Brandon, do you want to go first?
I would love that, in fact.
Sure.
So what I personally found potentially terrifying, considering we're talking about like essentially like these grand alien creatures descending upon the Earth right while we have goddamn exams going on, is that the Eidolons had this ability to create things called mirages, which would like present people with hallucinations that would feed into their hopes and desires or their worst fears in order to manipulate them. And that they were like so convincing that even when we have seen some of our own mirages, we either really believed them or really wanted to believe them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 I'm so here for that.
Yeah, I was thinking definitely something along those lines also. Just, whatever they were saying, you had to really focus on keeping them from being too convincing to you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Sort of like a siren song kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that I'm down with that. Um so the next question is when you were attacked recently, what did each of the attackers have in common?
I think we were tossing around a bit about a tattoo. They all had a similar tattoo, just on different parts of their bodies.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things I was thinking of is specifically that the tattoo that they had was a symbol that we saw while fighting one of the stronger eidolons that we fought.
Mm-hmm.
Like one that we like genuinely struggled to defeat and almost was like totally hopeless against. But no one else is even supposed to know what that symbol is. So how is it like existing in the wild, which is the particularly freaky thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that.
Cool.
All right. Our next question is, you left a conspicuous glittering heart symbol at the side of the gate, but everyone else acts as if it's always been there. Where was the mystical gate you sealed to keep out the Eidolons?
Because I'm a weirdo and I went to and live nearby a college that has a bunch of woods behind them. I suggested the college woods, but I'm also not married to that.
I kind of like that idea.
Yeah, me too.
Because I like the idea that it is part of the college space,
Mm-hmm.
and simultaneously secluded enough that like faculty and stuff didn't notice, but
Mm-hmm.
also the kind of place where other like classmates of ours would have hung out and saw those things and probably been devoured or something. So
Oh yeah.
like there is a rumor that the woods are already like haunted or something.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
cool.
I love it.
People definitely smoke up back there too.
Mm.
Oh yeah, lots of things
Oh.
have happened in the woods. Things that may or may not be a little too R-rated for us to mention in this conversation. Also, I just want to idly shout out to the chat Trini Tings is noticing a Caribbean accent. A Trini accent, in fact, and Trini Tings is right. Where's he seen?
Yay!
That's fantastic. I do have a question that's not written down here, but it's more for my curiosity. Like, what state did y'all leave the area with around the gate? Like, is it the kind of thing where it looks exactly like it did before, but it has the glittering heart symbol? Or is it the kind of thing where, like, now there's a new clearing, or is there a place where, like, only grass grows, or did it get weird?
I like the idea of a new clearing. And like how in different movies you'll see that like shockwave of power or whatever the fuck. And it just stripped all the trees of their leaves and none of them have grown back, in the same way that like there are trees still in South Florida that don't have leaves on one side because of Hurricane Andrew.
Like maybe there's there's like to this day like some black char on just one side of the trees, depending on what side was facing the gate.
Ooh, that's good.
Ooh, a little spooky.
I like that.
Yeah.
No, I can spell. Cool. Sorry, I'm taking notes in my own document and failing at spelling miserably. So the last group world building question is, how long has it been since you parted ways?
It has to be, to me, long enough that it's been a while since we've done the magical girl thing in general. But since we're talking about graduating from college, it also has to be short enough that we all may still have like hang-ups about how successful we are at adulting. So maybe like 2 years, I think.
I was thinking maybe a little longer than that, maybe closer to 5. But yeah, I agree with that. Maybe that's just because I am 30 and still don't have my shit together.
That is a fucking mood. I think the secret that nobody tells you about adulthood is you never feel like you've got your shit together, no matter how much shit you actually have in a fairly neat pile.
Oh, that is so true. Oh my God. Very
Cool.
much.
So are you okay with like 5 years, Brandon?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. Cool. All right. So I would next like to get into our characters. If you'd like to give your name, pronouns, your Sparkleheart persona, your playbook, aesthetics, and anything else that you would like to talk about them. And then after everybody's introduced, we'll do the setting questions and relationships.
Cool.
So, Brandon, you're up.
Hi. I will be playing Claude Narcisse, whose Sparkleheart persona is the Cloudy Heart. My playbook is the Trickster, which allows me to toy with other people's feelings while also struggling to deal with my own, which will be a lot. I think that's really interesting. And I will also mention that I have a mercurial demeanor. My clothes are princely attire, and my blade is a venomous sword.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Nice. What are Claude's pronouns?
Claude's pronouns are they, them.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and note that in the doc so I don't forget. And I think Shannon is next.
I am playing Cassandra, Cassie for short, Windover. She uses she/her pronouns, and the playbook is The Chosen. Her Sparkle Heart persona is the Heart of Fire. She has an authoritative demeanor, clothes denoting status, and an ancestral sword.
Nice. And Danielle.
I am playing Flaky Kiki Gathan. She uses she/her pronouns, and her Sparkle Heart persona is the Heart of Earth. She is currently using the Beast playbook. Previously, she was the Devoted. Her aesthetics are a wild demeanor, practical clothes, and a found sword.
Heck yeah. So, there are some questions that we have to answer, and if I'm reading the book correctly, I think we answer all of them, even though not all of the not all of the playbooks are represented. It's just we choose somebody to answer them. So
I want to see that again because I think what it actually, I think it's actually that if
yeah,
right, yes, if the
question,
listed
yeah,
playbook isn't in play, ask the question of someone else. Okay, cool.
yeah, cool. So since Kiki used to be the Devoted, Danielle, I'm going to ask you to answer the Devoted questions. And it says, when answering, describe how your PC's presentation has changed in response to the answers. And yeah.
Okay.
It's on 179. The question is, you reached out to the others after you were attacked to call for this reunion. What time and place did you pick, and does it have sentimental significance?
I think I picked. I think I picked the place where the glitter heart is. Like, I think I asked us to gather there because it would be the one place that we definitely all have in common. And it has sentimental significance because it was the last place that we fought together. Now, my PC's presentation has changed. So Kiki is a trans woman. And before she graduated, she transitioned after she graduated. And so her presentation has changed probably fairly significantly. And she I think she's quicker to smile. I think that's the first thing that people notice. And she is still as boisterous and quick to fight as ever. But she's also quicker to smile.
Okay. That's really really interesting. So the next question is for a playbook we don't have. And since the question after that is going to be Brandon, I'm going to ask this of Cassie.
Okay.
Your adversary didn't attack immediately. When they extended their hand, why did you reject them?
Because it would be wrong. Because they're the adversary.
Okay. I mean, that's a fair answer.
Hmm.
I mean,
I
that
wonder if
just
that
No.
means.
Hmm?
Does that mean that they did something at that moment that made you like absolutely sure they had ill intent?
Oh, good question. So how did I figure out what they were about? That's
Did you see the tattoo first?
I don't think I saw the tattoo first because that would be too something. I think I just saw it. Oh, ooh. Maybe something that they said reminded me of the way that the Eidolons spoke. Just like something in the resonance of when they start to talk to you and try to sway you to what they think. I I heard that echo and it made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up.
Hmm.
And then I looked down at their hand and there was the tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
also it would be wrong.
Good
Fair.
enough. Cool.
Fair. So the next question is for Claude. Who or what taught the mystical guardians to use your powers? Why do you distrust them?
So I think the answer to this is, or rather, I know what it is, which is, the source of the power of the mystical guardians comes from another place, not the same place that the Eidolons come from, but another world, another dimension. And I've been uniquely distrustful of that fact because it felt like they weren't asking us to protect the earth for the earth's sake. They were asking us to get revenge on their enemy for purposes that we do not know. Which is why the mystical guardians which is why I did not learn my sparkle heart power from them. I actually essentially stole it. I've been
Nice.
practicing it in secret, which is why up until the end of the conflict that we had while we were still in school, Cassie and Kiki literally did not know that I was the Cloudy Heart. They just knew that there was another Sparkle Heart who would just pop in and out and do things.
Were you our tuxedo mask?
Yeah, literally.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So I imagine you didn't trust me as well either, because like I probably had a great deal of animosity towards you all, because I thought like, what were you all doing? Why are you doing the thing? Why do you trust these people? And then we kind of like worked our way through that somewhere near the end.
Nice.
But I still don't like that happened. I'm still very distrustful of that external force, which feels kind of good because we haven't interacted with them for a while.
Okay. So the next question I'm going to ask of Cassie again.
Mm-hmm.
Which of your beliefs have helped you cope with the trauma of being forced into battle back then, if any?
I've always known that I had to go into battle. I am the heir to an ancestral power. My sword was my great grandmother's before mine, and I always knew. This is just part of what I'm supposed to do with my life.
Okay, that is incredibly upsetting. Thank you for that, Shannon.
You're welcome. Here, have a share of my trauma.
Yep, it's fine.
Right,
This is good. This is fine. Kiki, for the Beast playbook, why did you leave school before graduating?
Because someone got capital H hurt and I couldn't handle it. because my devotion for the devoted playbook, you're supposed to choose what you're devoted to, and my devotion was to my friends and their safety. And when Marius got hurt, I felt like it was my fault and I couldn't handle it, and so I just left.
Okay. Yep, that's also not upsetting.
Not one bit.
Yeah,
Not at
totally
all.
wholesome game we're playing over here.
We're fine. We're
Yeah.
fine. This
Yeah.
is fine.
All right. Claude, what about your adversary was eerily reminiscent of your past misdeeds?
So I think there was... Right. So I've only interacted with this new enemy the one time. But what happened was I was having dinner with a friend when they just suddenly burst into my apartment and started breaking shit. And they immediately suggested that they wanted to capital H hurt my friend. And one of the things that kind of gave me pause during that fight was I, in the very early stages of the Eidolon conflict, threatened to do that to one of Kiki's friends because I didn't know what Kiki's intentions were, but also because I wanted to get a rise out of Kiki at that point. And I hadn't made peace with the fact that that was a very cruel thing to have done in hindsight. So when it happened, it was a lot to deal with at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Good shit.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Totally wholesome, very cute, pleasant
Completely.
game we're playing over here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So Cassie,
Yes.
why are your other obligations incompatible with becoming a mystical warrior again?
Because I thought that I did my part and that I could be done and pass the sword along to the next person in line. And so I got the job that I've always wanted in publishing, and I have a very nice house, and I am going to maybe start trying to have a family, maybe one day, and I'm just trying to be a professional. I don't have time for this anymore.
Yeah, who has time for this in this economy?
I know. Magical girl
This quote
shit
unquote economy.
in this
Oh my God.
economy.
Does this game take place in 2020? Yike.
No,
No, please,
I
no.
think this takes place in a kind of like nebulous alternate universe, like
At 20XX.
yeah,
It's the Barbarian
20XX.
Bears universe.
Yeah, 20XX in like Neo New York or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to use Neo Tokyo because none of our characters are Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
But so let me see. I've been asking Shannon a bunch of questions. I'm trying to evenly distribute them, so okay, I think I want to ask this question of it would be good for either Kiki or Claude. Let me just roll a D2 real quick because I'm interested in what both of you have to say about this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to ask this of Claude.
Yes.
What's the most foolish thing you've done while chasing the thrill you felt back then, and why does it still haunt you?
So remember when I was asked if I was this game's tuxedo mask?
Mm-hmm.
I have been, after graduating, moonlighting as a gentleman thief.
Oh my
Nice.
god.
I spent exactly 7 months as a masked vigilante of justice, going by the nickname Nimbus. And I briefly like botched, like, I think it would have been a hostage negotiation. I thought I just break in and free the hostage, and then the police would just bust in and do the thing. And I made a slip up that could have cost multiple innocent people their lives. It was fine in the end, but that was the point where I decided, you know what? I'm not cut out for this thing. I'm just going to stop doing these things and try to relax. And it didn't help, because I continually itched for a thing to do. But yes.
You're valid.
So good. So good.
Okay. So actually the dice kind of knew, because this is also an interesting question to ask Kiki.
Mhm.
Why do you feel like a brand new person compared to back then?
Well, there are two main reasons. One being that Kiki has fully transitioned, and the other being that now she can transform into this feral creature. It's new.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think she used to be able to do that, but I think sometime soon after she ran away from school, that something happened to fundamentally change her in that way. And on the one hand, it's kind of scary, but on the other hand, it's also incredibly freeing, because, as Dirk says in the chat, sometimes don't you just want to go ape shit? And I think she finds that the freedom of rage is comforting.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So the last thing I think we need to do is we need to establish our relationships so we can establish strings on each other. And then we can find our PCs in the forest.
Are we answering our relationship questions?
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
what's happening?
Yeah,
Cool.
sorry. I should have been clearer. Yeah, we're going to, starting with Brandon, we're going to do the relationship questions. And
So I just want to make sure we're doing the relationship questions that come with this setting, and not the
yes.
ones that are already on it. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Nice. So my questions are: for years, you've regretted not sharing a secret with one of your comrades. Who and why do you hesitate now that you have the chance? And who was your greatest confidant back then, and why have you tried to distance yourself from them?
Choices.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, there is one. One is immediately obvious to me. after we all like came together and realized how to do the thing,
Mm-hmm.
there was a moment like just before finally graduating when we had like come to terms with the fact that we may never actually see each other again after this point. I wanted to confess to Kiki that I was the cloudy heart and I almost hurt your friend. And I don't want to do that now because like things are going well and I don't want you to be mad at me now that we're all on the same side. Because we're now on the same side.
Oh,
Good shit. Hell yes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I think that means Kiki definitely has a string on Claude.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And I think it stands to reason that outside of Sparkle Heart shit, I was in fact Cassie's friend. Like we used to talk about school and like other benign things. And I feel like we always used to kind of hint at like larger stakes that we were involved in before like we really knew what had happened. But then I realized that Cassie was also a Sparkle Heart, and at some like I guess I still a part of me holds a very unrealistic kind of resentment that I really did want to bond with Cassie, and I felt like um the source of the power that gave us both the ability to become Sparkle Hearts got in the way because I didn't trust her at that point. And even though I know that I can, that hasn't like really gotten through my head. So yeah.
Aw. Okay. That's
So many
great.
feelings. So many feelings is
Oh.
feelings is literally a mechanic that I have. So I'm just gonna stack all of them.
Fair.
Oh my god. So does that mean that I have a string on you or that you have or we have a string on each other?
I think that that means that you probably have a string on each other.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing saying that you can only get one string out of a relationship question. So yeah, I think you each have strings on each other. Cool. So, Cassie, how about them relationships you were probably neglecting because of your destiny?
Oh, I think that the question that I have here is what relationship from back then did you break off to pursue your destiny? Is that wrong?
No.
I think
Yeah, no, that's there.
Yeah, I think that's
Okay, cool. All right. So what relationship from back then did you break off to pursue your destiny? Well, that would be a relationship with Kiki. So I also have a love that cannot be as my tragic aspect.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
We're on the feelings. The feelings are here.
Good.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm gonna give give Kiki a string on you, but I'm not gonna give you a string on Kiki for
Okay.
that one.
So I think that like as like we like were together as freshmen through juniors. And then when the stuff happened, it got jumbled, right? Like we couldn't be together in the same way because we were soldiers together and it didn't feel right. And so for Kiki's own good, Cassie broke it off to save Kiki.
Shannon, we're just making Tessa sear again.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god. You can't keep doing this to me. Okay.
It's very good.
That's what we call a callback.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
For your own good. I didn't want you to get hurt because I was
Yep.
definitely gonna die, definitely. And
Yep.
yeah.
Oh my god.
All right. So who's gonna be the most disappointed in you? That's probably gonna be. I would say that's gonna be. Well, at least maybe Cassie thinks it's gonna be Claude, because Cassie's definitely become a lot more boring, right?
Okay.
Like, Cassie is about paying her insurance and making sure that she puts out fine publications right now. And that's where she is. But also in the way that happens when you get away from being a college student, you kind of do like lose some of that. You lose some of your sparkle.
Hmm.
And
Get out.
and she's lost her sparkle.
Oh my god.
I'm having so many feelings right now.
I'm upset.
So she's like envisioning that Claude is like having this glamorous, fabulous life, and she's just over here kind of in the pantsuit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like Claude gets another string on you.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry that you didn't get any strings.
I don't have any
from
strings
that.
on anybody.
You do. You have a string on Claude
I have
because
a string on
of...
Claude. But everybody else has strings on me because I'm a sad sack.
Yeah. All right. So that takes us back around to Danielle. I would like to know about your relationship questions.
Yes. Real quick, Dirk says that they have donated for some smittenness and a bumper sticker.
Oh.
So
Okay.
definitely mention who you would like to be smitten with whom, and we will make that happen.
We will make it happen. Mm-hmm.
Now, my questions. The first one is, who went exploring with you the most back then? And I think that has to be Claude. I like the idea of her and Claude having this kind of relationship where Claude feels angst because they won't tell her who they are. But they have a good friendship, at least towards the later years of their time at college. If you're okay with that, Brandon.
I am definitely okay with that. This is
Okay. I'm going to give both on each other for that.
Okay. Cool. Just like buddies who sneak out in the middle of the night and climb on roofs and shit.
Yeah. Get into shenanigans.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And my second one is, who will be most surprised by how you've changed? And I think that for some obvious reasons, that will be Cassie.
Okay. Cassie, you have a string on Kiki.
Yay! I have 2 strings, 2 whole strings.
You do. But it's good. It's good.
It's good. It's so good. I'm gonna die. All right.
You're going to be fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I like this a lot.
Me
Yeah.
too.
I am excited to use these things against you. So, shall we begin, or do we want to take a quick 2-minute break if somebody needs to like get up and walk around or go get water or anything like that.
Yeah, let me
quick
go
Swift
run and get
bio.
some water. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll be back in let's just call it 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Brian, if you will do the thing.
If something disturbs us, we want to deny it. We want a rational explanation for it. If something disturbs us, we want to deny it. We want a rational explanation for it. If something disturbs us, we want to deny it. We want a rational explanation for it.
Are we back, Brian? Okay, cool. So our friend of the show, Dirk, did donate for having one of the characters become smitten, and Dirk chose for Claude to become smitten with Kiki. Now, one of the things that means is that Kiki gains a string on Claude, but each playbook has like a unique thing that happens when they become smitten. And Brandon, please read what happens when the trickster becomes smitten.
Okay. Under the truths of heart and blade for the trickster, is a beautiful lie, which reads: when you become smitten with someone, say why, give them a string, and answer this question: what secret do you have that you think would make them reject you if they knew? So, first, I will admit, I think I'm smitten with you almost. I think I'm smitten with Kiki almost out of like a kind of curiosity, a kind of everything about you has changed now, and now I'm very curious what that means, and how much of those things I get to like enjoy like a treat, if that makes sense. Very selfishly,
Oh
but
my
still.
God!
That's very good.
Yes. But the secret that I think you would utterly reject me for, is that at that moment when I threatened your friend, all so many years ago, when I did not trust you or know what your intentions were, I would have done it. Like, I wasn't bluffing at the time. If it went another way, we would like still be enemies to this day, even. And now I'm worried that not even just that you know that I did that and I would have done that, but that I'm worried that you think that I'm the kind of person who would um throw away anyone's life, even the life of someone that I cared about, um for my own gain. And I tie that to that experience, to the fact that I threatened your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, this is a lot.
Yeah. There's a part of me that's like internally screaming and clutching their face, and there's a part of me that's just like rubbing their grubby little GM paws together, going good.
Excellent.
Yes. Okay. So, with that all set, let me give you the scene. Let's see. Let me go back to Roll20, even though I don't have a picture of anything in particular on Roll20 at the moment. It's just the lovely stock photo of an old university I found. So Kiki has called you all into the clearing behind the college that you all went to. I do want to ask though, how far did y'all each have to travel to get here, and like what's your mood when you arrive?
Mm-hmm.
Cassie definitely had to fly in from some large city. And she is she pulled up in a rented car. She had to change into she had to change her high heels into like tennis shoes to walk back here, and she's still definitely kind of in like a skirt and a white button-down shirt that's looking kind of rumpled from the flight. But she has her sword strapped to her back.
Okay. Man, okay, if you checked that, it's probably fine.
It's a magic sword, so like she can just pull it out. Like, it
Is
hides.
Is it something that she like pulls out Utena style from her chest where her heart would be?
Let me think about this. Maybe she's not wearing her sword. It's just with her all the time, and those who can truly see can see it, right? Or she can manifest it as real.
Okay, that is
I
badass.
like that idea a lot.
Ooh.
Like all of the language that I have for this game is based on tokusatsu series that I've seen before, and I just like the idea that there is this like aura that we naturally have that like certain other kinds of people can see, like very small imaginative children or people who are experiencing like a certain kind of inspiration can see us in our sparkle heart form even when we're not deliberately taking it.
Ooh.
Because like there's this powerful kind of sense that is attached to us. So yeah, I like the idea that there is someone like on the plane next to you who's like, what on earth is happening over there? And the person's like, why are you staring at that person?
She has a sword.
What
Ma'am?
sword? This is an Arby's.
Good. I think it's maybe a couple hours drive for Kiki. And I think she's nervous.
Okay. Is that something that she really shows? Like, is she shifting from foot to foot or any sort of like nervous tick, or is it something that is internalized?
I think she is fidgeting with like a bangle or something, but other than that isn't showing it.
Okay. And how about you, Claude?
I am traveling by train. Because I'm a classy, pretentious bitch. And I am relatively calm throughout. Like, part of me is like thoroughly excited that a thing is happening and we get to go back to shenanigans again, but I'm not going to show it. So outwardly, it seems like I'm just like off visiting old friends from college. But inside, I'm ready to punch something in the face.
Hell yeah.
Aren't we all?
All right, so let me float this out here. Is
Float
it
it.
like our 5-year reunion? And the timelines just happen to coincide?
Oh my god.
Oh wow. Is it our reunion or is it coming up to our reunion?
May I GM Fiat and say it's definitely your reunion, and I definitely need to go to Donjon because I didn't come up with enough NPC names for a reunion.
Okay.
Good old Donjon.
Yeah, I'll deal with that.
So
later.
maybe like the reunion is this weekend, but this is Thursday, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Brian, we can see whatever the hell you're looking up right now.
Just like
fair warning.
So glad that wasn't porn. Oh god.
Oh boy,
Why
King
does-
Arthur's steps.
Why
Brian,
do King
what?
Arthur's steps require a math equation?
That
No.
is a wonderful question, and I'm glad you asked it, and I don't know.
I love playing with you all. Please invite me to do these things more often.
Oh my god, yes.
You've been in the two most recent. Obs.
Standing invitation.
Obviously, yes, definitely. Okay.
Standing stone.
Okay, so yeah, so it's this weekend, but it's not today. So you're not having to worry about like sneaking out of the reunion, but there's definitely a lot more people in town. And of course, because there are a lot more people in town and a lot more people on campus, that clearly means that there are more potential victims. So that's cool and good. I'm sure y'all are really happy about that.
Sure.
Okay, so you're in this clearing. I'm presuming Kiki's first. And do Cassie and Claude arrive together or separately?
What do you think, Brandon?
I think separately. I think I think Cassie is already there when I arrive. Like, this gives you enough of a moment to see me be unnecessarily extra. It's like I am dressed like I'm not supposed to be in the woods.
I mean, technically, so is Cassie, just from a different aspect.
I think there's
like-
probably like paths though, so it's not like you're necessarily like getting dirty or anything getting to there because students come there to smoke up and make out all the time.
But like I'm in fine loafers.
Okay. Okay.
The buttons on my shirt are pearl inlaid for no reason.
Oh my god. Yes.
I love this extra person.
Yeah. These like kind of like lilac tinted glasses.
Oh my
And
god.
I walk up to Cassie, lean on a tree, and I idly say, "It would seem like we're waiting for just one more. How are you?"
I've been better. You?
Can't complain. I hope that we have something better to talk about than another invisible war against ancient Cretius.
It would seem that that's what's on the agenda.
Well, we've dealt with it before.
Right. And hopefully we can get this done before, I don't know, she looks at her watch, Monday. So what are you into these days?
I've been keeping myself busy.
So it would seem.
Most of my time has been spent running various internet errands, if that makes sense. I'm essentially downplaying that I'm an influencer because I don't want to make it a big deal.
Oh my god.
Yes, I'm playing that guy. I love it.
Oh. Huh. Well, I'm glad that you've found a career that suits you.
Thank you. And what have you been up to?
I'm in publishing. I own, and then rattles off some publishing house that you probably haven't heard of. Right, when we've published 5 New York Times bestsellers this year, and we're doing great, frankly. And then she looks at her phone, starts answering an email.
That sounds lovely. Any scandalous bestsellers that you'd recommend?
No, we strictly do nonfiction.
That should be better, but I imagine it's not the kind of nonfiction that I'm interested in.
And what kind of nonfiction are you interested in, Claude?
R-rated nonfiction.
Oh my god. Kiki,
Oh
you're
my
free to arrive whenever you want to.
Jesus Christ.
I'm so sorry. I'm just enjoying this so much.
No, you're good.
You're
Are you
good.
just like standing at the edge of the woods, or are you talking or walking as you talk?
So-
or
I've got a question because I created a new page and I've got like a couple of tokens on the board just so I can visualize and I thought I dragged the players over to it.
I see the new page, yes.
Okay. Cuz like it's
Mhm.
not showing up. Okay, there we go.
Ah.
Yeah, it's not showing up on the stream though. I don't know if that's cuz Brian has our Roll20 minimized or something, but I'm just kind of like drawing the clearing.
Ah.
With
There it is.
Sorry. Oh god, it looks like a nipple.
Lord.
Jesus.
There, it's more centered. I'm a disaster at this. I'm so sorry.
Good Lord.
But the heart represents where the heart sealing the gate is.
Uh-huh.
So if
so-
you're near the edge of the clearing, let me know and I'll move you. But
Yeah, so are you standing at the edge of the woods, or are you walking through the woods as you're having this conversation?
Gonna get the edge of the clearing. I thought we'd just come into the clearing.
Okay.
cool.
So I think that Kiki is like, I'm kind of imagining this glitter heart like set into the trunk of a tree,
Mm-hmm.
like a big fuck off tree. And Kiki's like walking in a slow circle around it because she's nervous. And so she kind of like comes around the other side of the tree and sees the both of you. And her shoulders come down from around her ears, and she smiles and says, Cassie, Claude, you came.
So when Cassie hears Kiki's voice, she definitely blushes and her knees definitely kind of wobble a little bit. and she freezes like in the middle of writing that email on her phone and just like tenses up and then looks up and just doesn't say anything for a hot minute.
Claude is definitely frozen. like holding back a gasp even, but doesn't want to let anybody know what's happening. So
Can I make a suggestion, Brandon? That like at the same time we say, "You look amazing" in stereo.
yes. Yes.
In the chat, gay panic.
It's not even that we just say it, it's that in like perfect unison we literally say, "You look beat amazing." Like even the pause is perfect. We are having a lot of feelings in the woods right now.
There's so many feels in these woods. So many feels.
Yeah.
There's like sakura blossoms just float by from no determinate location.
Kiki like rubs at the back of her neck and looks down at the ground, blushing, and she's like, "Oh, thanks. I'm really glad you came."
So
Both of us
I'm
are just kind of
sorry.
shuffling at this point, trying to figure out who starts, who says a thing next.
Uh-huh. If the silence stretches on, Kiki will clear her throat and kind of point over her shoulder at the tree. and say, so it's doing a thing.
Cassie puts her phone away, like straightens her collar and strides over, what's it doing?
Mm. Hey, GM.
So I think the glitter heart that you left here has always just had a steady glow.
Mm-hmm.
But well, actually, you don't necessarily know that it's always had a steady glow. It had a steady glow when you left.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, it's just kind of like it's got a heartbeat almost. Like, it'll pulse like the thump, the thump, the thump. And that's what it's doing now, but it's kind of slow about it, so that you have to like observe it a little bit to realize that that's what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, let me go back to my reference sheet. So yeah, otherwise, I don't think you necessarily notice anything in addition to that, but it's definitely off. Like Kiki said, it's doing something.
Thank you, whoever just gave a $50 donation. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Please let us know who you are and what you would like so that we can deliver.
We've also got like an outstanding $10 donation too, so
Nice. Okay. Well,
I think I'm gonna walk closer to the tree.
Mm-hmm.
I think as you walk closer to the tree, behind you, and I'm gonna wrong tab. Behind you, and I'm going, oh my gosh. Sorry. Roll20 dislikes me. Kind of where I'm pinging right now. So near Cassie, you see or you hear kind of like the snap of somebody like stepping on a twig or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cassie
So what
whirls
do you-
around.
Mm-hmm. And you see standing there, I don't have a good token. Searched person and it gave me a spider.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I'm just going to use this. You see standing or right here, kind of like a person who looks like they're or wait, what were my pronouns for this person? You see somebody who looks like Faye's like in fair late 20s, maybe early 30s. Faye's got like a book like clearly like a chemistry book or something like that, cradled in one arm, and when you roll around, Faye kind of looks a little taken aback, and is just like, "Oh, I didn't realize anybody was gonna be here."
Well, we are here for the reunion
I
later.
mean,
Just
the reunions in the student center. I thought.
we're just visiting our old stomping grounds. Is this okay?
I mean, sure, it's fine. Hang on. Going back to my reference sheet again. Yeah, sure, it's fine, but I just was hoping to kind of study by myself. But Faye's kind of like blushing a little.
Mhm.
Do
Because
you,
like, sorry, go ahead. No, you
Go
go.
ahead.
No, you.
Do you need to study right here? We can. Well, we only have a limited amount of time here, so you know, I guess, and you know, you don't have to like leave necessarily, but we would also like to be here if that's okay.
I just noticed Brian mentioned in the chat that the person who donated the 50 wants to see somebody become smitten.
Smitten with a villain.
Yep.
Um,
I will also mention, I'm pretty sure that person is the writer of this game, so.
Oh.
oh,
Oh
Oh
no.
my god, I just looked. Oh wow.
Oh
who was it?
I
Wait a minute.
just noticed
See-
that.
no. See,
This
I
is
was
gonna be
trying
delightful.
I was trying to be coy about it and not mention that it was smitten with a villain because I wanted to bust that out and not have the audience realize what was going on.
Oh,
but
I'm sorry.
it's okay.
It's
It's
in the
okay.
chat though. It's in the chat.
Oh,
It is in the chat.
I didn't
Yeah.
see that in the chat. Sorry.
Yeah, Brian just copied
I've
it.
got like 80 tabs open, so I'm
you're good.
forgetting to check the chat. So I trust y'all not to metagame, but like Cassie,
Mm-hmm.
I think that you find this person's awkwardness a little charming.
Aren't they a little young? Wait a minute.
No,
This is
no.
5 years
Faye's-
after.
Yeah, so Faye's like a student that so like I went back to college briefly when I was well past quote unquote college age.
Mhm.
I described Fair as a person who was in Fair like late 20s ish. So I don't think that's like
Okay.
Faye might actually be a couple of years older than you.
All right. Sure. Sure.
So I think you find Fair awkwardness a little endearing. So I would love for you to read what
what
happens when you're smitten.
What happens when you're smitten? Is that on my character sheet here?
Yes, it is on your character sheet. It will be under truths of
When you become smitten with someone, say why, give them a string on you, and answer the question in the Truths of Heart and Blade section of your playbook. Okay, so I'm going to say that Faye remind me of myself when I was in college before the Sparkle Heart stuff started to happen. Just kind of fresh and not necessarily innocent, but carefree and without all the worries and whatnot, and that's just very refreshing to see. Um, but since I have Love Is Not My Destiny under Truths of Heart and Blade, when I become smitten with someone, I have to say why, give them a string, and answer this question. How do our respective stations make it impossible to be together? Well, duh, I'm a very important publishing executive from a large city far away, and they are in college, and this would be completely inappropriate, and I can't. Be irresponsible.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So,
fair.
Faye have a string on me, and I have a string on Fair. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
What is Fair's name? We don't even know.
Yeah, you've just got a crush on this person who's walked up.
Yeah.
So fair name is in a different tab. Fair name is Margot Kent.
Ooh.
And Margot is actually going to kind of like duck fair head and like push a lock of like kind of wavy black hair behind one ear and just be like oh, I'm sorry, I'm being so rude. Yeah, I'm Margot Kent, and I like to come out here because it's pretty calm to study. I mean, I hope you don't mind. You don't seem like really loud people, and you're not out here smoking, so I'll just be over there. And Faye kind of gestures towards the other side of the clearing. But as Faye gestures, Fair, like the cuff of Fair shirt rides up, and you can see like just the hint of the edges of a tattoo on Margot's wrist.
Oh no.
I need very badly to figure out this person.
I imagine you do.
Do we all see the tattoo?
I don't think so. Realistically speaking, because Margot's closer to Cassie, I don't think it's reasonable for Claude and Kiki to see it. So it's entirely up to Cassie whether she says anything about it or not.
Well, oh shit. Cassie is going to you know what? It's time for a magical girl transformation.
Oh my
Is
god.
it now?
Already?
It is definitely time for a magical girl
So,
transformation.
All the way to the thing, okay?
what do you say when you transform?
Oh boy. Okay. So suddenly you can see the sword on her back, right?
Mhm.
And it is glowing red. And as she pulls it out of the sheath on her back, her entire body engulfs in like flame,
Mhm.
right? Just beautiful orange and red flame everywhere. And when it fades, she is wearing oh goodness, I should have thought of this before. She's got the tiara happening with the red stone, and
Is it like a Sailor Moon tiara, or is it like?
It's definitely like a Sailor Moon tiara. I can't
Okay,
not be
perfect.
on my bullshit. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to make sure. It could be like a She-Ra tiara. We never know.
But her outfit looks more like a She-Ra. Only
Mhm.
it is in flame colors. Okay, and she says her magical girl call out, which is, "My gleaming sword ignites the soul's passion. I am Cassandra, the heart of fire."
I love this so much. So clearly, Kiki, Claude, you have just heard your friend transform. What do y'all do?
I mean, I turn around suddenly and go like I don't say anything aloud, but like my face very obviously reads, "Why are we doing the thing right now?"
All you see Margot like take a step back from Cassie, like clutching fair book and looking kind of pale and like looking at y'all kind of pleadingly.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Um,
there's just like there's this hint of fear in fair eyes.
Hey, August.
Yes, Danielle.
I have this move called Tenacious Purpose that says when you commit yourself to a specific goal, you may ask the GM once per scene how you could advance that goal in a way that violates civilized norms. Take +1 forward to act on the answer. I think Kiki's goal right this second is to protect the students at this college.
Oh no.
well,
It's been nice knowing everybody. Good night. Good night.
just when we were finally all on the same page.
For 30 seconds.
Okay. So there is one way that you can protect the students at the college, and that is to keep Cassie from injuring Margot.
Awesome. Good.
Like that's your instinct. You have to keep Cassie from injuring Margot. You don't know why Cassie wants to do it, and you don't know what is up with Margot that set Cassie off like this, but you know that if you don't get Margot away from Cassie, you're never going to be able, well, not never, but you're not going to be able to figure out what's going on here.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. We're an hour and 45 minutes into this. Yeah.
While this is happening, I want to ask very suddenly about the interpretation of a thing. So I have a move called Center of the Web, which says when someone approaches you to get something from you or threaten you, choose one. Before I read what those things are, I want to ask if the pleading eyes of someone hoping to be saved from immediate danger counts as being approached to get something from me.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Thank you for picking up what I was putting down.
Yes, because one of the things that I can choose is ask them a question from the figure out a person move.
That's fantastic. What question would you like to ask?
I just want to know why are we about to stab this student? I want to know what's happening. So the question I think I wanted to ask is well, I mean, this person, Cassie thinks that she is under threat. So the obvious question I think I would ask is, what are your feelings towards Cassie?
So your sharp intelligence kind of like cuts through the bullshit. There's definitely like that fear's there and that fear's real, but behind that you can kind of see this glint in Margot's eyes that's like it's angry. Like Margot is angry to see Cassie like this. Like Faye feels like Fair Life might be in danger, but also it's just like there's just this kind of burning behind that doesn't quite make sense.
Ah, I know exactly what I want to do in this moment. Kiki, are you still like about to do a thing?
Uh-huh.
Because while you are like actively moving, I'm just going to say like in a half flirtatious, half bitter tone of voice. I'm just gonna say to Margot, you know what this is, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to know what Danielle exactly is doing before I respond as Margot, because what Danielle, since you're doing this while Kiki's doing something, that'll determine how Margot reacts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good. So I'm going to turn into a wolf.
Yes.
Holy
Oh
shit.
Lord. Oh Lord.
Like, is this like a regular wolf-sized wolf? A big wolf? Is this an anthro wolf? I must know.
I think I was debating this when I was creating her, and I think it's like an anthro wolf, like very
Mhm.
Van Helsing.
Okay.
And I think what happens is that she doesn't have a sword on her for reasons.
Mhm.
And she says out loud, oh hell, where did I put it? There it is. My gleaming sword protects the innocent. I am Flaky, the heart of earth. And the same sort of like magical energy starts to surround her, except it isn't like a pretty magical girl transformation. It's a horror movie werewolf transformation.
Oh shit.
And I increase my feral to 4 if it's not there already, and
Mhm.
roll plus daring. So let me roll. Is it not going to do it automatically?
You could click on them.
What is it?
Ooh.
Oh, it did add 2. Okay, so that's a 7. Which means oh Philo. Which means I choose 1. You are in harmony with your beast and may clear a condition. You are magnificent and little escapes your notice. You gain leverage or an opportunity with a monster. Pain is nothing to you. Ignore the next time you would stagger while transformed. You can move in ways no ordinary person would. And I'm going to choose I can move in ways no ordinary person would.
Mhm.
Because I close the distance across this clearing way faster than you would think that this creature could move.
Awesome. Oh, right. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Brandon. My brain is not so great right now. Just in general. What was the last question that Claude had asked?
The question that I asked, or the thing that I said?
The
Well,
thing that you
right.
said.
You know what this is, don't you?
Yes. Margot
I wanted so badly for Margot to not get murked in the middle of this field when I said that, but we'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, Margot's not necessarily going to get murked. Because remember that Kiki is trying to protect the students, and as far as Kiki knows right now, Margot's a student. So Margot like opens their mouth and starts to say I, but then like Kiki, like, does Kiki scoop Fair up or tackle Fair?
Well, given the option, she's definitely going to scoop Fair up.
Okay. So you don't get a response because there's like the whoosh of air as Margot gets scooped up and gets the breath knocked out of Fair.
Kiki puts Fair in like a fireman carry.
Oh my god.
Oh my.
Okay. So you're now
This is
here.
definitely happening far too quickly for me to adequately respond. So it's just kind of rapidly taking place in front of me.
I think once Kiki has like hold of Margot, she doesn't immediately do anything else. So like there's definitely a moment here unless Cassie is immediately going to do something.
Cassie,
Well,
go ahead, Brandon.
I mean, I think the thing that I immediately try to do as a result is I'm just trying to get in the middle of everybody at this point. I do put my hands up between everybody and ask everybody to please chill. Which I guess would require a roll of grace.
Do
I just press the thing?
You should just be able to press the thing.
When it asks you for a modifier, it's asking for a modifier on top of whatever your stat already is.
Yeah, like if you spend a string or something.
Okay. So I just click submit then.
Yep.
Okay. So that's an 8, so that's a mixed success. Where the heck? Oh my gosh. Where the heck is that move? If you can find that move.
Which move are you looking for?
I'm sorry, the one that you said which move were you using, Brandon? I'm sorry.
I just at the time I just rolled with grace.
Actually, let's say that's Defy Disaster.
Yeah.
What just occurred to me, in fact.
Yeah.
Because
sorry, that sounds like
when you push your limits to achieve something extraordinary that's not covered by another move or to avert an imminent danger to yourself or someone else, with swiftness or elegance, you roll plus grace.
Yeah. So that means I get to offer you a hard choice or success with a sacrifice. So
that's fun.
It is fun. So you can get everybody to chill by like insinuating yourself between everyone. But if you do, you're going to get I'm trying to think how to phrase this, because you're going to get staggered. But I'm trying to think the best way to phrase why you get staggered. Actually, no, I think you're going to get staggered if you do this, because this is kind of like a strain on like your relationship with Cassie, right? Like, you know, you and Cassie are, you know, kind of close. So, having to do this and seeing Cassie like lash out at like this for seemingly no good goddamn reason, that staggers you. So I'm gonna need you to roll the stagger move, which how much do you roll on that one? Oh, you don't have any conditions marked, so
I do not.
so that means uh I don't think you roll with any modifiers on that one. Or no, it's you don't roll anything for that, do you? So you get to choose whether you lash out at someone whose regard matters to you, provoke them to do something foolish or harmful, and take advantage of a string on them if you have one, hesitate or stumble, and the opposition gains an opportunity, or you grin and bear the blow and mark 2 conditions.
Oof.
Where is that in the book? Just so I can see that again.
I'm looking at the basic moves reference right now, but in the book it should be under. It should still be under basic moves.
Here, I can copy and paste it into the thing. Chat.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm definitely going to lash out at someone whose regard matters to me.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I know that Margot is a potential threat, but my goal is to gain information first instead of starting to dice her up. So I'm gonna provoke Kiki.
Oh, okay. How so?
What was Kiki's playbook before
The Devoted.
The Devoted. Plays a lot on responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Which works here as well. So like I'm still like standing between Cassie and Kiki with my hands up, and then I just glance at Kiki and I say, it would be quite a shame right now if you, in your zealous attempt to protect this school, you defend someone who wants to destroy it right here and now.
Sick burns.
And like, I want to assume at this point that I am so close and Margot is so like roughed up that technically I can see like I'm close enough that I can probably see the tattoo by now, can't I?
Yes. And I think if I'm reading the move right, you have to use a string if you have it on that person. So I think you have to use your string on Kiki here. And the things that you can do with that is you can offer them an XP to do something. And you don't lose the string if they don't do it. So it sounds kind of like that's what you're doing with the ultimatum.
I mean, yeah, ultimately.
Okay. So yeah, that's...
So you can drop Margot for XP.
So I think what happens is hold on, I'm reading things. Yeah. I think what happens is Kiki kind of rocks back on her heels. And the thing is, I decrease my feral when I feel that my bestial nature has hurt someone I care about. Or when I go along with an uncomfortable interaction to fit in. And so I think my feral goes down in this instance, and immediately I turn back into Kiki. And Kiki is a large woman, so she still has Margot over her shoulder. But she is no longer a large wolf person. And she kind of tightens her grip around Fair waist to keep Faye from moving. And her eyes dart from Cassie to Claude and back, and finally rest on Claude.
I do want to interrupt here because we have not heard from Cassie in a hot minute.
It's okay. I was waiting to see how that played out.
Okay, we will let that play out, and then Cassie absolutely needs to figure out what she'd like to do.
I mean, Kiki's just going to ask Claude what the heck they mean. So I think that's a pretty good place for Cassie to step forward and say something if she wants.
Because I mean, I'm going to point out a thing, but Cassie can very well also point out the thing.
Kiki, you used to trust me. Kiki, you used to trust me. Do you think that I would transform if I didn't need to?
Are you using a string on Kiki?
Maybe. I can. Yeah, let's influence with a string. Right. So what do I need to do to like what I'm trying to do is Okay.
Yeah. It seems like the two that most fit with what you want to do are what Claude did, offer an XP to do something, or find out what it'll take to get them to do what you want.
I could entice.
Oh. Oh.
When you appeal to someone's physical or romantic sensibilities, roll with
Jesus.
plus heart.
Jesus.
Okay. I'm here for this. I don't think that requires spending a string though, so you can just roll.
So let's see. I don't know if this would get the result that I need. Let's see.
Yeah, enticing is for generating strings. You already have a string.
I already have a string. Okay, I don't know. Okay, yeah. So I'll influence with the string, and I will find out what it will take to get them to do what I want. All right. So, what do I roll for? Do I roll anything for that?
You don't have to roll anything.
Okay, I'm
What
just going
do you
to.
want?
Okay.
So,
all right. So, what I'm saying is, Kiki, you used to trust me. That person is an eidolon. What's it going to take for you to believe me?
I think that first Kiki's expression kind of shudders and closes off, and she says, I used to trust all of us to do the right thing, but I'm not sure that we are anymore. And she kind of hefts Margot in her grip, and says, do you have anything to say about all of this?
Okay.
Margot just being thrown around like a rag doll.
Holy
Yeah.
smokes.
Yeah, I think Fair's
Like, where are Margot's books and stuff at this point?
Yeah,
I
I
know,
think I
right?
think Margot dropped Fair book. It was
Uh-huh.
only one book, but I think it's now at Kiki's feet and has been for a bit. And I think Margot just kind of like glares at all of you and is just like, you'll never be able to stop this. You thought you could stop this, but you're wrong. And I think Faye doesn't exactly transform, but it's just like some thing, it's just like as if like a darkness starts to like ooze off of Fair, and then like as the darkness oozes up almost like smoke, Margot like collapses and the tattoo fades away on Margot's wrist as the real Eidolon like forms where Margot was once standing, and it's a being who's, I would say, probably like 6 or 7 feet tall, very gaunt, long black hair, and just lips as red as blood. And
Is
this, yes,
sorry. Is Margot still alive? Were they
yes,
just inhabiting Fair?
Margot's
The
still
Fae?
breathing. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Margot's still breathing. Faye was just a vessel, but the Eidolon leaving Margot does not kill Fair because this is Sailor Moon. I mean, yeah, it's a little grimmer Sailor Moon. This is probably closer to like Toku Sailor Moon, but like the people did not typically die. And by the way, the live action Sailor Moon Toku show is the best version of Sailor Moon ever. I'll die on this hill. If you haven't seen it, find a way to watch it. So good.
Nice. Cassie is going to leap between Margot and the Eidolon and
Hell
assume
yeah.
a defensive stance.
I would like you to roll me some Defy Disaster
Oh.
with might, or with daring, sorry.
Could I
Because
do
you're
Could I do grace because of swiftness and elegance?
okay. Yeah, you could do grace too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a better stat in grace.
Okay. Yeah. No, you can definitely do grace.
Okay.
I was just making assumptions
Etain
there.
is cashing in her crit success.
Oh.
Yay!
Okay.
So I don't need to roll.
You don't need to roll. You
All
automatically
right.
succeed.
Nice.
All right. So, you do it with style, and the move also says at the GM's discretion, you may also learn new information, discover a new opportunity, or gain a string on someone. I think that because you got a crit success, you are going to gain a string on this Eidolon, as she recoils from you, specifically from your sword.
Ooh. Nice. Cool. Does anybody else want to do anything before we throw the fuck down, or
I think Kiki backs up to put distance between Margot and this Eidolon. And she secretly feels kind of vindicated.
I want to do something absolutely foolish.
Uh-huh.
Go for it.
So you said that Margot's still alive. And I still want to figure something out.
Okay. What would you like to well, actually go ahead and roll for me and then
That's
tell me.
plus wit.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. You may ask two. I rolled a 7, which is a mixed beat. So I may ask 2 questions, but they may ask one of me. I want to know, what do you hope to get? What do you hope to gain from aligning with the Eidolons? And how could I get you to... I mean, how do I get you to turn against them?
So the answer to the first one is something that I'm not exactly sure how you pick up on this, but maybe it's just because of your analytical sort of intuition. This creature wants power. Like, for whatever reason, this creature wants power, and you suspect that if you can offer something that has as much weight as power in hang on, I'm gonna put the Eidolon here. I'm just using Margot's token for it. You suspect if you can offer something that has a similar weight to the power that the Eidolons have promised, this creature could be swayed against them.
I want to be sure I wasn't asking those questions necessarily of the Eidolon, but of Margot.
Of Margot. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can still have that information for free.
Okay. I'm sorry.
No, that was my bad, but just keep that information in your hip pocket too. So of Margot is unconscious, so ultimately I don't think that second question really applies. But
there is a logic that I have in my head of how it applies, if that makes sense.
Okay. So again, I'm not 100% how you get this information, but it's just with Margot, there is a sense of like, you saw Margot being kind of like timid and awkward, and it's the Eidolon is so different and so like so much more confident that it's one of those things where like being something that Margot is not and Margot wants to be with confidence and capability and things like that. And so I think that if you can convince Margot that Faye's good enough as Faye is, that could get Margot to turn against the Eidolon too.
I could do that thing. Potentially.
Which thing would you like to do?
Try to offer emotional support to Margot.
So literally the thing I was about to do as well. Yes.
No, go for it. You go for this. Is like you're the one who has the information. I don't.
So I'm going to, because I'm the only person I'm the only Sparkleheart here who hasn't transformed yet.
Do
I
it.
am going to transform.
Mhm.
So I snap my fingers and call my sword, which is like a rapier with the blade edge in a gradient of green that gets like darker as it gets to the tip. And I I swirl the tip over my head and shout, "My gleaming sword reveals the truth. I am Claude, the Cloudy Heart."
Hot.
And uh, a small rain cloud forms atop my head, and rain falls. But as it touches me, it turns into my Sparkle Heart uniform, which is a powder blue
Oh my
suit
god.
with a capelet with
Oh my god.
yellow accents on the sleeves and on the edge of the capelet.
Oh my god.
Ah.
Brandon, how dare you? Why would you come for me like this?
Like even the color of my glasses changes from its previous lilac to powder blue.
Oh my
Um
god.
and so there's this thing. So remember when we said that the Eidolons can create mirages that can allow people to see their greatest hopes or greatest fears?
Mhm.
That can often happen to people while they're asleep. Which is how like people don't die in this universe, but they can still suffer, essentially. So I kind of know that Margot is potentially dreaming right now.
Mhm.
So I rest the tip of my rapier against her forehead, because we can like see and speak into their dreams by touching them with our swords.
Fucking course you
And
can.
and inside their dream, I'm not looking into it because like I've already gained as much as I need to gain, but I just kind of whisper so that Margot can hear this voice kind of booming in the dream, which is what do I say?
Oh
I know what I
shoot.
say.
I forgot
I,
to ask a question of you. We can do that after you've done this.
yes, definitely. But I say, whatever it is this is offering you, you can gain from any of us by just asking us to be your friend.
Oh my god.
God bless.
I'm legitimately emotional. That's very sweet.
That is very sweet.
Um
But I have to roll for that, don't I?
Yeah.
Emotional support is heart or spirit.
yes.
And I will roll plus spirit.
Ooh.
And I
Ooh.
rolled 12.
Oh my gosh.
Hell yes.
Heck yeah.
Who Boise?
So when on a 10 plus, if they open up to you, they choose one, and you either choose one or take a string on them, which is cleric addition, mark XP, +1 forward, or gain insight from the GM about an obstacle facing one of you. So I want to gain insight, but I want to. Well, I mean, the other thing is up to the GM, but I feel like there is perhaps a kind of waking up out of the dream that is potentially possible here.
I'm looking at the emotional support move. I think this is something that you are supposed to use on um on player characters, but
Oh, yeah.
we can just take that role and move it to defy disaster instead. And so you I'm imagining like you're in the dream and Margot's like sitting there, and as like a tuxedo mask kind of character, you're giving this speech, and maybe like there are flower petals drifting around as you speak, and Margot like looks up at you and says, "I'd like that very much," and like reaches out for you.
Hey, August, real
And
quick. Dirk
yes.
in the chat is saying that you can use emotional support on NPCs too.
Oh, okay.
In any case,
In any
Well,
case,
in
this
any
is what's
case,
happening.
this
Hot.
is what
Yes.
happens. This is what's happening no matter what. Um,
because it's good
and
shit.
I was gonna give you like insight, like with this, with Margot choosing to like accept your friendship, that gives you that weakens the Eidolon's tie to the physical plane. Sir, it's not
Yes.
time yet. Sorry, my cat an hour before food time starts to bother me for food, so please excuse cat noises.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's your insight. By doing this, that is ultimately the Eidolon's biggest weakness, is the connection through Margot. And so in doing this, you've weakened the Eidolon, and this is also manifested because you're the one in the dream with Margot. This is also manifested by the Eidolon kind of like clutching her head and shrieking.
Nice.
Oh
Nice.
no.
Okay. The thing is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Cassie and Kiki, how do you react to what's happening here?
um Cassie, let's see. I'm gonna use do you know who I am? When you meet someone who knows you by reputation, you decide, you roll plus heart, and on a 10 plus, you say two things they've heard about you. 7 and 9, you say one, and the GM says one. So I think this Eidolon has heard of me because I'm the fucking heart of fire, damn it.
Yep,
I'm the heart of fire.
you are.
Yes. So I'm hoping that it's quaking in its little Eidolon boots. And I'm a roll. Do 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 do. Boop.
Oh no.
Oh no, what?
No.
Oh no. Well,
So-
I mark experience. Shit.
Cassie got a 5.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what that means is that the Eidolon knows who you are and can see into you.
No.
And she says in a voice that sounds like a little garbled to Kiki, but to Cassie is 100% clear. I can make it go away. You don't have to carry that sword anymore. That burden doesn't have to be yours to bear.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
And
Okay.
she extends a hand to Cassie, like palm up. You know, the fingers are a little clawed, but it's palm up. There's nothing in them. Just kind of as a gesture of ostensibly friendship and taking the burden away.
Hmm. Do I need to respond in this moment, or should I let somebody else take a turn?
If there's something that you really want to do, then by all means respond. If not, Danielle is welcome to respond as well, because we've done a lot with Claude, so I'd like to give Danielle a chance if Cassie doesn't have anything.
I was going to try to defy disaster.
Okay.
But
Mhm.
if Kiki wants a turn, Kiki can have a turn.
I think you should go ahead and defy disaster.
Okay.
What Kiki's doing is she gently puts Margot down where Claude can still reach Fair. And she circles around so that she isn't close to Claude anymore. Because guess who she just realized Claude is?
Oh.
Oh no!
Oh no. Oh no.
This is both Claude and me, the player, realizing I just did a thing.
So she's basically backing away warily, and her eyes are narrowed. And she's backing away kind of towards Cassie, but I think you should probably go ahead and do your defy disaster while
Okay.
she's doing this.
All right. So I'm going
I
to
think-
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think with this particular one, this is definitely going to have to be with spirit. Because this is this has to be with spirit because it's about your willpower. You have to decide whether you're going to do this or not.
Okay, YOLO. Here we go. Now I do have a string on this Eidolon. I might spend it.
Yeah. So if you have a string, you can spend that for like a +3 on your roll.
Okay.
If I'm reading these rules right.
Okay. Should I do that now or after I roll?
I think you can do it after.
Okay.
I'm gonna say you can do it after.
Oh no.
Oh
Oof.
shit.
So yeah, you should do that.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm
Spending
getting
spending that string.
Yep.
Damn it.
Spending that string.
Mhm.
So that puts you at a 7.
Mhm.
Which means that nope, wrong tab. That means that I'll offer you a hard choice or a success with a sacrifice.
Okay.
You can resist, but you're going to take a condition if you do. Like if you don't succumb to, or if you don't acquiesce to the Eidolon's temptation, you are going to where are the
We've got angry, frightened, guilty, hopeless, and insecure.
I think that you're going to be hopeless because the reason why you don't give up your sword is because you know that there's no way out for you. And you're
Okay.
always going to have this, and it's always going to be with you, hanging over you, even as you try to have a normal life. So that's going to be hopeless if you choose to decline.
All right, I'm choosing to decline. I am now hopeless. So like
Okay.
Cassie kind of wavers on her and her sword point drops just a little bit, you know? And then when she comes back up, there's just this bleak look in her eyes. And it's somebody else's turn.
I want to do a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when I emerged from Margot's Mirage, and the very first thing that I notice is what I imagine is Kiki looking at me very worriedly and perhaps with a great deal of anger.
Uh-huh.
I am going to give Kiki emotional support.
Okay.
I'm going to spend my string to do so as well.
Okay.
And I'm thematically, I want to roll hot,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like heart works thematically because it's the thing that I have the lowest in.
Oh.
Yeah, I do feel like heart is probably the way to go.
So I just roll the thing.
+3 because you're spending a string.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh
God.
no! Oh no!
Oh no, Claude.
Claude got
Oh,
it.
this is gonna be hilarious because if you're smitten with them and they refuse to open up to you, it stings. You mark a condition.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh.
So,
Oh.
like I look at Kiki like very warily and say, I made a lot of mistakes when I was here. I'm trying not to make any more right now. I'm sorry, but no matter how you feel about me, we have a duty to this place, to this world, to do better than I can do. And a tear rolls down my eyes, and I am now guilty.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
Oh
We're
my
just a big
gosh.
mess. We're a mess.
Oh
Oh
no.
gosh.
Oh god. For context, listeners, Claude rolled 2 1s, -1, +3.
Literally the lowest thing that Claude could have possibly rolled in this situation. Oh. Oh. Okay. Also with emotional support, I get to introduce a new threat. And
Uh-huh.
I think that's the glitter heart. The pulse races for a little bit and then the heart cracks. And the Eidolon like grows taller as black mist starts to gather around her.
Yikes!
Oh no.
We've
Oh
got
no.
25 minutes. You need to like
Yeah.
pull out all the stops.
Yeah.
All right. Cassie is going to fight. She's
All
gonna fight.
right.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. I'm gonna roll with Grace.
Okay.
And let's see. I don't have anything that I can use. All right.
Hang on. Let me double check something really quick. Cuz I want to say that there may be something that Kiki or Claude can do for you. So hang on. Yeah. If where was the dag nabbit? Because I think you can use the influence with the string move to provide
Yes. To add or
+1.
subtract 1 from any roll they make after rolling.
Yes. So if you can roll, and if somebody wants to aid or interfere in that roll, they can spend a string on you, because goodness knows everybody else has strings on you.
Mhm. Mhm.
I can definitely spend a string to aid you.
Oh yay!
But we don't have to
Yay.
do it until after she rolls, so.
Okay.
Mhm.
So she's gonna say something. Okay, what's she gonna say? It's gonna be some magical girl bullshit. It's gonna be like oh goodness. In the name of the Sparkle Heart, you have no control over this world. And strikes. Oh my god.
Oh my god!
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god!
Oh my god!
I am spending a string.
Even
Boy,
if we
do
both
I suck.
even if we both spend strings, that only brings it up to a 5.
Yeah, just let me go down in flames, guys. I'm already hopeless.
Oh my god!
Just
Will
let
this be the
let me
end
go,
of the Sparkle
let
Hearts?
me go down in flames.
So Okay. So I think what Kiki does, she's almost all the way to Cassie at this point.
Mhm.
When Claude gives their brief entreaty, she narrows her eyes, and without even saying anything, I think she becomes the wolf again.
Mhm.
Because she's angry.
Mhm.
So I do need to roll transform. So I'm gonna roll
Okay.
daring. Oh Lord.
Oh boy, are we just
9.
a
Okay.
mess.
9. Okay, we're not
Um,
all burning in flames right now.
and I'm going to choose you are magnificent and little escapes your notice. You gain leverage or an opportunity with a monster.
Okay.
And she turns away from Claude with an air of finality and turns towards the Eidolon instead. And
Oh.
how does Cassie's failure there become how does it happen?
Okay. So,
Because that will influence what I do.
yeah. So, um I think the first thing is Cassie staggers. So, since you have 0 to 3 conditions, that means that
Yeah, oh yeah, no, you're right.
you have
Go
to
ahead.
choose an option from the following based on the number of conditions you have marked. So you have to choose from the 0 to 3 conditions option. So you lash out at someone whose regard matters to you. You hesitate or stumble, and the opposition gains an opportunity, or you grin and bear the blow and mark 2 conditions.
I hesitate or stumble, and the opposition gains an opportunity.
Okay. So,
Yes.
I think that means that the Eidolon is able to scoop up Margot.
No. Slow
Okay.
motion. No. As Sakura blossoms. Um.
Yep.
Yeah, I need to fight.
Okay. I am also going to fight. You go ahead.
Okay.
So, I am going to roll with daring.
Do it. Does anybody have strings on Claude that they would like to potentially assist with if needed?
I have a string on Claude that I
also
could
have a
assist
string on
with.
Claude.
Okay, go for it.
Mm,
All right. That's a mixed success.
Yay!
Yeah. So,
okay,
what is this?
so I choose 2, and your opponent chooses 1.
Yes.
And
And
you
the
can't choose
option.
the same thing twice.
Yep. And the options are flirt with or provoke your opponent and gain a string on them. Through violence or cutting words, inflict a condition. Or create an opportunity for an ally through prowess or distraction. Or take an object from your opponent or seize a superior position.
Ah, okay, cool. So, like, what I do is I like sprint up to the Eidolon and leap to take like a stab right like as close as possible to the Eidolon's head. I don't get that close, but I do leap like almost impossibly close. And as I thrust into its seemingly ethereal body, I say, "You're weak. You need us in order to exist here. You are nothing. Small, inconsequential. and I will rob you of your ability to stay. And just as I say that, I flick the rapier out and slice off its hand
Nice.
so that
Mhm.
Margot falls back down to the ground.
Good, good.
Hot.
I think so just to make sure you're inflicting a condition and you took an object from your opponent, correct?
Hmm.
Okay. So I think your words make the Eidolon angry. I think that the Eidolon screams, but as she like shakes her head, she for my move against you, she is going to kind of like grin a little and like crook a finger on her good hand at you and say, I would like to see you try to banish me. So she's kind of flirting, kind of provoking, and gets a string on you.
Sus.
Good.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna dice this thing up into little tiny pieces.
So Kiki, you said you wanted to fight too.
Yeah, Kiki's gonna fight. So I'm going to fight with daring.
Mm-hmm.
Go 9.
Okay.
So I choose 2 and my opponent chooses 1. I also have the ability Ferocious. When you fight, you may mark a condition to choose an additional option.
Okay.
So I'm going to seize a superior position
Mm-hmm.
and inflict a condition through violence, and create an opportunity for an ally.
Okay.
And basically what Kiki does is she pounces on the Eidolon,
Mm-hmm.
and takes it to the ground, in front of Cassie, and holds her down. And I'm going to take the condition, I think it's angry, because she's kind of giving into some of that
Mm-hmm.
bestial nature.
Okay. So we've got we've got 2 conditions on the Eidolon. We've already got angry, so let's go with the next one being frightened. And you can tell that the Eidolon is getting weak. In gameplay terms, you just need to inflict 1 more condition before it poofs.
Mm-hmm.
So let me pick what the Eidolon gets.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Eidolon is going to lash out through violence
Mm-hmm.
and inflict another condition on Kiki. And I think with like even though the Eidolon looks weakened, it's still a really formidable foe. And so I think she's going to take the condition frightened,
Mm-hmm.
as like she gets slashed through her fur by one of the clawed hands.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, maybe it's the hand that got cut off reaches up and slashes. because
good.
that's always fun.
Good.
So, Cassie, what you doing?
Cassie's gonna fight, obviously, and hope I don't ass it up again. Jeez, oh Pete. Is there anything that I can do?
Well, you've been given an advantageous position, so I'd say you roll with advantage. So that's 3d6 and take the top 2.
Okay. All right. So I'm okay. Wait a minute.
I don't know if you can do it on the character sheet. Just like roll 3d6 and then add your modifier.
Okay. Okay. So here we go. Okay.
So what's your modifier? Because that's +8.
1. So
okay,
I got
so that's a 9. So if somebody wants to spend a string, they can bump it up to a success.
I think it makes some narrative sense for me to spend my string on Cassie.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I'm going through a thing that I need to describe later, so it can't be me.
Oh, buddy.
All right.
Okay. So you've got a full success.
Yeah, I think that Cassie like sees Kiki in this horrible position, gets very passionate, and that passion just like pumps through the fire blade, like some flame of passion happening right there in the sword. Like
word choice, Shannon.
Do you think that wasn't intentional? So and when it does, like her hair flies up, like there's a fan, you know how, the power hair flying up, that whole situation. And she just brings the sword down and can I kill this thing? Am I killing this thing right now?
We're banishing it at least.
Yeah,
well,
it's basically being poofed.
A mighty smite.
Yeah.
Pumping the flame of passion into a mighty smite. That's what I'm doing.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yes.
Yeah. So you like when you smite, like the flames like flicker through it, and like you know how like sometimes when you light charcoal that's been doused in lighter fluid, you can see like the line of the sparks as they go around the piece of charcoal to set it on fire. It's like that. And then the Eidolon just like dissolves into dust. Like I know you could take other stuff, but there's other stuff as part of the fight, but like the Eidolon realizes that it has no hope of doing this and just like ends up dissolving into dust at your feet with your strike.
Nice. Nice.
So
some heavy breathing is happening,
Yeah, y'all are out of combat. What do you do? The heart is still cracked, so you might want to look into that with your power of friendship. But I'm just saying we've got 9 minutes left. I'm not going to hold anything back here. Your power of friendship might be useful for healing the heart.
Yeah, I think Kiki stands up and holds a paw to her chest where she was scratched and kind of looks at the other two.
I have a thing that I must do.
Okay.
So as the Eidolon is dead, I throw the tip of my rapier into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So I have this thing called feelings.
You have feelings? What?
I have feelings. I have feelings. If your feelings track reaches 4, you can't hold it in anymore. Tear off the mask and scream what you've been holding in. Do what you've been afraid to do, and damn the consequences. You can give anyone present a string on you to gain a string on them. Stop when the consequences catch up with you for good or ill.
Say what you've always wanted to say.
I storm, march all the way up into Kiki's face.
Oh no.
Why is it that all of you are so eager to start fights instead of asking questions all the time? This is why I almost didn't trust you until we finally got rid of the Eidolons 5 years ago. I am so frustrated by the fact that you, who are so beautiful and intelligent and thoughtful and precise, I can't even. None of this was supposed to happen. I was just going to ask a question, and we would have figured out all of this ages ago, and Margot would have been fine, and we would have been fine, and everybody in this park right now would not presently be overwhelmed, but instead, we now have to deal with the heart, which at this point, I don't know if any of us ever deserved this. If this is the way that we're always going to solve problems, don't you think that you are too beautiful and thoughtful to make these kinds of errors? And then I run out of words. My eyes open very, very wide. And I say, you know what? Damn it all to hell. And I lean in to kiss you.
I think yes. I think Kiki is looking at you with just big confused wolf eyes. And the changes reverse like really slowly, like she's in the same way that when someone is being chastised, they kind of curl in on themselves a little bit, and so she's just like reversing the change really slowly, until you run out of words and she's human in front of you again. And I think you lean in to kiss her at the same time she leans down and picks you up. And they're gonna smooch.
Yes.
Take
Can
a
we-
string.
Honestly, okay. Cassie, I would like to propose something. Like
Yes.
the heart starts kind of like beating again, and there's a glow along the crack. Cassie, what would you like to do with this information?
So, Cassie watches them kiss for just a split second, right? Just 1 second to like know what's going on. And then turns to the sparkle heart. Looks one last time over her shoulder and drives her sword into the crack. And there's a big flash of light. And she disappears into it. And it's gone.
Oh no. Okay, I'm sorry, but that's where we have to cut it. Like
And it's gone.
I'm sorry, that's where it has to end. Oh no. Oh my gosh. Shannon, how could you cover me like this? Oh my god.
Fam, what? No, like I imagine the last scene before credits of this episode is just us finally splitting apart from our kiss, and then we turn to the tree and go, "Where's Cassie?" Credits. Like what's happening? What's happening?
Oh my gosh.
There's like her like Apple Watch there on the ground, and nothing else. And the heart's gone.
Oh my
Wait,
god.
it's gone?
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh.
There was nothing else to do, y'all. There was no other choice.
We need to do another episode of this. This needs to happen immediately. I am not letting
it can't happen immediately. I've got another game in 3 minutes, but if you would like to do something immediately, would you do us the honors of telling us who you are, where people can find you, and how they can support you because you are awesome?
Who, me?
Yes,
you.
I am shook. That's who I am. I am Brandon O'Brien. I am a poet, writer, and game designer from Trinidad and Tobago. I am also shook. You can find me on Twitter at The Rising Tides. I GM a Blades in the Dark game called The Case of the Descended Seal that you can find on speculatesf.com. I can't think right now. That's all you can get, I think. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You've got a pinned tweet on your Twitter, so go to the Rising Tides on Twitter and get all of the information you need to support this lovely individual.
Yep.
All right, Danielle, you go next because Shannon, you get the last spot of shame for absolutely fucking ruining everybody. How dare?
Yeah, I've been Danielle. You can find me on the internet at Redtail Talk 90. You can find the games that I write, including my Animorphs Blades in the Dark hack at redtailtalk90.itch.io. You can listen to my voice on The Room Where It Happened, which currently our season is The Fast and the Furious, except in Appalachia, except in space. Or on Dumb Kids Playing Hero, which is an Animorphs actual play podcast, where I GM, or on the Escafil Files, where myself and Jade, who has also been on today, talk about the Animorphs books. Shannon.
Hi, I'm Shannon. Please,
Shannon, ruiner of souls.
I don't do this kind of thing all the time. So please go ahead and listen to The Room Where It Happened, where I'm playing someone who's much happier, like a lot. So if you want to send me hate mail about what I just did, you can feel free to @ me on Twitter at BigMomEnergy. You can also come follow me on the Instagram at big.mom.energy. And I regret nothing, but also I'm sorry, but also I regret nothing.
Don't be sorry. And with 1 minute to go, I've been August. You can find me on Twitter at Harpydora. You can find me on a slew of podcasts, including Follow the Leader at FTLcast on Twitter, Dumb Kids Playing Hero, Gay Space Rocks at Gay Space Pod on Twitter, where Brian and I talk about Steven Universe, and Equestria Gays at Equestria Gays on Twitter, where Anya and I talk about My Little Pony. Anyway, that's been us. That's been Thirsty Sword Lesbians. Thank you so much for being here and donating. Y'all have been fantastic. Thank you to the creator of Thirsty Sword Lesbians for coming up with a bomb-ass game that we were able to play. Have a great rest of your evening. Stay tuned for myself, Zach, Brian, and Riley Lyra Hopkins as we play Riley's game Zombie Survivalist 2 second edition. I almost said 2SE, and that's not how that works. Anyway, we'll be back in a few minutes for that. I need to go take a lap, so bye y'all.
Bye.
Bye.